So we had a big customer retention issue. That was kind of everything. We had lost 30 or 40% of our customer base from 2017 to 2018. Obviously, there are components as to why that happened. How do we right the ship, and how do we go from shedding 30, 40% of our customers and kind of bringing them back on board? And then do we have the right team in place to be able to do that? And you can almost say, do we have the right team in place first? Because if you don't, then it actually doesn't really matter what strategy you have.
Let's go through all the components, because I'm sure there are people out there right now who maybe their business was a bit disrupted over the past couple of years and they're like, I can figure this out if I just figure out how to even think about this retention issue. So when you're coming in hearing you're losing 30 to 40% of your customers, and what did you do? Like, what did you see? What were the components of like, why were you losing so many customers?
The bigger and more obvious one was we had huge problems with on-time delivery. So we had always been a company that had been somewhere between 85 to 90% on time, and that had dropped to somewhere between 5 and 15%, which is just like a terrible customer
What
experience.
happened?
There, yeah,
That's
you
like
think we were,
insane. 90 to 5%. Like what?
yeah, we had executed a 3PL migration, and I think that we didn't do as good of a job as we should have in process mapping exactly like how our model worked. I think so that was one component of it. I think a second component is we had always been a daily offer business where we send a single SKU. So we send a single SKU and we fulfill a single SKU. We had also launched, I would say that we innovated in 2017 by launching a standard e-commerce store, multiple SKUs. I think we had 300 to 400 SKUs on hand, and it was kind of a shift in our business model. But we didn't integrate those two kind of revenue streams in a way that made sense. If you were to add what we call the daily offer to your cart, and then you tried to add an in-stock store wine, it would actually kick out your daily offer wine. So that customer experience was out. And that's just like one of like a bunch of different examples of like where our product didn't line up with the right consumer experience. So I think you had a more complicated supply chain. We executed a 3PL migration with probably not mapping, without doing the proper process mapping and integration plan, all while we're shifting our business model, or at least evolving our business model. So I think those two components really kind of like hurt on time delivery. I think we were fortunate to bring in what I think is like one of the best COOs in the business, and help kind of write that within 3 to 4 months. So when we talk about having the right people on the bus, he was definitely one of them. How do we improve the customer experience, whether it's shipping, whether it's website experience, whether it's the curation of the wine? We definitely cut a long tail of wines that we probably shouldn't have been offering. And like everything was geared towards like, does this consumer, are they going to love this wine? Are they going to get it on time? Is the experience on the website going to be not confusing, at least initially? And then how do we get it to be like a great experience?
hmm For wondering if like consumers will love the wine, how are you deciding that? Especially if you had so many, and it seems like you have so many options of places to source the best wines from, and like palates are so different. Some people will give me wine, they'll be like, "This is the best one, $400 bottle." I'm like, "Ew, this is not good. What did you just give me?" So like, how did you go through deciding, especially if you had a website that wasn't probably giving any good guiding indicators on, yeah, a lot of people like this or they like that, when it
hmm
was just kicking things out of carts and wasn't really, working
hmm
perfectly.
hmm So we're never going to get it right 100% of the time. Like it's just almost impossible. And especially when you're buying a wine, in a sense, when you're buying a wine blind without tasting it. But I think one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is we have this absolutely amazing wine team. As I mentioned before, master of wine, master of somm. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's essentially the pinnacle of the wine profession. So I think for both of them, they're two different kind of designations. There's about 400 of each in the world. So if you put the two together, it's less than 1,000 people in the world who
Wow. What's the
have got
training
this.
look like for that?
A lot of drinking, a lot of studying. Both of those are some of the most prestigious and most difficult tests to pass. So I think with that team, they've dedicated their lives to wine. They know a high quality wine from a low quality wine. So every single one of them, or I should say, every single wine that we put through our platform has been tasted, tested by them. And the question they had is, would I stake my reputation on this? And does this wine punch above its weight for the category? And anything that comes through the platform has basically been vetted by that team. You don't have to go to a restaurant. You just go to Wine Access and you have this expert team who has already kind of pre-vetted the wine for you. So no matter what, you know that it's going to be a great wine and well made. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to love the wine. I'm not a huge Zinfandel fan. So it doesn't matter if it's the greatest one in the world. I'll probably take an above average, Northern Rhone Syrah over like the best maids in the world. So I think that's the second component that we've really been trying to kind of figure out and crack. So I think content does a great job of that, whether it's talking about the wine, where it's from, stylistically, what it's like, as well as having the wine team assess the attributes of the wine. So someone may say, I love, wines with big fruit that's just busting at the seams. Well, the great part about that is when you go on Wine Access, you can look at every single wine and it's profiled for fruit intensity, for oak intensity, for acidity. We're going to be adding aromatic intensity. There's a number of different wine attributes. So as you start to kind of form your thesis around wines that you like, whether it's heavy in fruit, whether it's high in acidity, we're able to showcase that too. And you're able to see like, yeah, this actually does look like a wine I would like. We've also just actually rolled out a personalization platform for our consumers as well. So based on the wines that you've viewed, you've purchased, or that you've rated, we then can kind of serve up wines that we think that you would absolutely love. There's kind of two different approaches that we've taken in it. So you have the wine curation, where the pure curation is saying, is this a well-made wine for this category? Does it punch above its weight? And then you have the other side from more of a technology kind of data science standpoint. Do the attributes of this wine, or based off of your buying history or rating history or lookalikes, do we think that you'll enjoy this wine?
Hey, thanks for watching. This segment was made possible by our friends at Salesforce Commerce Cloud. If you're looking for the #1 platform for all your commerce needs, go check out salesforce.com/commerce. And don't forget to subscribe below and tap that little bell icon so you can stay on top of all the amazing new segments and full episodes that we'll be putting out over the coming year with some of the best and most influential commerce leaders out there.